Hello, and welcome to Historical Fiction with Kviatoslav, where I like to explore historical fiction written particularly in the 20th century. And today I've got an extremely obscure offering for you this time, probably my most obscure recommendation yet. And this is a novel called Gold for the Caesars by Florence Seward, written in about 1960 there. And as you can see, I've got kind of a mass market copy, which has seen a bit of use over the years. I got it recently, secondhand, of course. And yes, this one is an interesting one. The novel, well, first of all, the author, Florence A. Seward, I haven't really heard of anything else by her. I think this was her only novel there. I don't really know anything about her other than, according to the author information, she's a descendant of the Secretary of State, Seward, who actually purchased Alaska for the United States. If you know, it was originally called Seward's Folly because it was considered a mistake initially and so on there. But just an interesting kind of random fact. Anyway, as regards to the novel, it's an interesting one. Obviously, it's set in the height of the Roman Empire. I think the novel begins in about 94 AD, and it's set in the Hispania region of the empire. And the main character is a slave architect by the name of Lacer there, and he's actually constructing a bridge to connect sections of the Roman Empire there. And it's actually interesting in that what initially attracted me to the book was it's set in, I think, a relatively unexplored era, you know, the mid or the height of the Roman Empire there. Usually, most novels are set toward the beginning or toward the end there. And also, it's set not in Rome itself, but in one of the provinces there, Hispania, which again hasn't been explored much in historical fiction. And interestingly, also, it explores an aspect of the Roman life, which is not covered as well. No gladiators or anything like that. This one concerns a bit more politics, and basically, this slave architect gets caught up in a political plot. He's a slave, but he's actually an educated slave, so he's quite a valuable one. He knows his own value and his own worth, and he gets caught up in a kind of political plot where one of the Roman governors is attempting to rob and to cheat gold shipments and so on. There, I won't say any more than that because it's a fairly interesting plot there, and yeah, overall, I would say it's not exactly a hard recommend. I'd recommend it for someone if you're like me and you like anything kind of historically related and generally accurate. I think it's quite a good one. It is a bit of a slow burn in that not a lot happens for long pieces of the novel, but it does contain a lot of interesting dialogue and interesting occurrences there. I thought maybe one of the things I might start to do is read a little bit of the maybe the opening paragraph just so you can get an idea of the prose, just in case you think you might want to pick this one up. So, Gaius Julius Lacer was battling depression brought on by the still April heat, by concern over the fate of his chained labours, and by suppressed fury against the imperial prefects of his trio of freedmen. Back on the finished south sections of the bridge, whips were lashing humans' backs, although here on the centre bridge, not a knout was in sight. Uh, Gaius never used whip handle methods. Lightly, his long ashwood pole touched the glistening naked back of a negro in ankle greaves, helping shackled Britons lay decking on the tremendous mid-channel pier of the structure destined to span the turbulent Tagus River in the west-central Roman Spain. During the summer, the treacherous Tagus dwindled to a mere stream cattle stood in, and a man could wade across the narrow places. But not now. Melting snow and rains of spring had made the river deep and bold. Just to give you an idea of the prose, as I said, it's quite elegant and well written overall. I originally learned about this novel through, as you'll notice here, it says soon to be a big MGM release. It's actually I'm a big fan of peplum films or sword and sandal films, and this one was initially became known to me as there was actually a film in the 1960s that was based on the novel there. And I've actually watched the film as well. And it follows the novel fairly faithfully, obviously cutting out a lot of details there. And I can also recommend, you can actually find the film on YouTube. You can find it on this channel, the Peplum Project, which is a channel I highly recommend there because it has a lot of old restored Peplum films there, if you're a fan of Peplum films like me. So I originally read the novel and then I watched the film and enjoyed both. Like I said, they're not anything groundbreaking, but they're also, an enjoyable way to spend your time. So thanks a lot. Goodbye.